In game number 1 of the Lakers-Grizzlies first-round series, Rui Hachimura exploded for 29 points coming off the bench while shooting more than 78% from the field and more than 83% from deep. But right after the game, Grizzlies guard Desmond Bane commented that he believed Hachimura's performance was actually a one-time fluke, stating that, quote-unquote, "It was probably the best game he's had in his career, let's see if he can do it again." And while Hachimura hasn't actually exceeded his 29-point scoring output during the following games, Rui has still nonetheless established himself as one of the most important players for the Lakers in this entire first-round series, as well as one of the biggest X factors for any team in this year's playoffs. As currently, the 16.2 points per game he's averaging in the first round coming off the bench is the 4th best mark among the Lakers roster, only behind LeBron, AD, and Austin Reaves, while his current 69.5 true shooting percentage is also the 9th most efficient mark in the entire 2023 playoffs. Well, looking back, Hachimura was actually the first mid-season acquisition that the Lakers had this year, and while a lot of fans got excited about his arrival, the trade deadline additions of other notable players like D'Angelo Russell, Jared Vanderbilt, and Malik Beasley has caused the Rui Hachimura trade to become some sort of an afterthought, which could easily be explained by the fact that during the 33 regular season games he played for the Lakers, Rui actually somehow struggled to make a consistent impact. But now the question is, how did this guy who only averaged less than 10 points per game for the team during the regular season become one of the most crucial pieces for the Lakers in the playoffs? So what's good everyone, it's Real Balls here, and today, let's dive into Rui Hachimura's rise against the Grizzlies and what could potentially be next for him as a Laker. So let's get to it. During the regular season, the Lakers were one of the best interior scoring teams in the entire NBA as they actually ranked number 6 in points in the paint per game. As a result, the Grizzlies' game plan coming into the first round has been to pack the paint by having off-ball defenders sag off the Lakers' shooters to instead prioritize help defense in the interior. Well, ideally, this strategy was supposed to work for Memphis, because the Lakers weren't actually a good three-point shooting team, as during the season, they only ranked 24th in three-pointers made per game and only 25th in three-point percentage across the entire NBA. However, in the playoffs, we know that special players actually step up. Rui Hachimura specifically, who only shot 29.6% from 3 for the Lakers during the regular season, has decided that he wasn't just going to sit around as Memphis ignored him from behind the arc. Through 5 games against Memphis, Rui has been able to re-establish his outside shooting stroke by knocking down a solid 57.9% of all his three-point attempts in the playoffs. That makes Rui not only the most accurate three-point shooter in this first-round series, but also the second most efficient three-point shooter in this entire 2023 playoffs, only behind Duncan Robinson. All in all, Rui has just been a consistent catch-and-shoot outlet for the Lakers' rim attackers. In fact, the 1.58 points per spot-up possession he's currently producing actually ranks in the 92nd percentile among all players in the playoffs, which puts him just behind Steph Curry, who actually ranks in the 93rd percentile. In this Lakers pick-and-roll, you can see that in addition to the pick-and-roll defenders, Jaren Jackson, who's supposed to be guarding Rui, also tries to put pressure on the paint. This leaves Rui as an open passing target as he hits the three-pointer against the late closeout. Then this time, LeBron runs an inverted high pick and roll with Dennis Schroeder, and as he drives, watch how the entire defense collapses in the paint with Jackson again compelled to provide help at the rim, causing LeBron to find a really open Hachimura who then hits the easy corner three-pointer. Well, as an adjustment, in later games, Memphis actually decided to close out harder on Hachimura from deep. But the thing is, despite being a big body, because of his steady ball handling and driving ability, Rui has also been capable of scoring against unbalanced closeouts. Here, the Lakers run another pick and roll, but you can see Schroeder finding Hachimura on the weak side. Rui then quickly attacks the closeout by Aldama using his long strides as he pumps the brakes before hitting the tough 12-foot mid-range shot. Again here, Schroeder finds Rui on the elbows, and you can just see Rui expecting the closeout from Jaren Jackson, so he just drives and uses the quick fake before transitioning into a turnaround jump shot. Well, another thing that the Grizzlies tried to do to potentially neutralize Hachimura's scoring is to play smaller defenders but great shooters like Luke Kennard or Desmond Bane on him, in the hopes that Memphis can maintain optimal floor spacing, all while trying to slow Hachimura down using quicker defenders. But then here you can see Rui on the post being guarded by the much smaller Luke Kennard. Watch Rui easily bulldozing his way into the paint as he finishes the reverse layup. Then here, it's another mismatch against Desmond Bane on the post. Rui just backs Bane down a couple of times before he smoothly transitions into an 18-foot turnaround jumper. Well, we know that Hachimura and Jarred Vanderbilt play similar roles for the Lakers in a lot of ways, but in this first round series, Rui has been playing more, averaging more than 26 minutes per game as compared to Vanderbilt, who's only played under 21 minutes per contest. And I think it's not hard to see why this has been the case. When Vanderbilt is on the floor, Memphis can sag off him and protect the paint a little bit better, cause Vanderbilt can't really burn them with spot-up threes or pull-up jumpers. But Hachimura can actually do both, making him a more difficult matchup for the Grizzlies. But also, even on the defensive end, although Vanderbilt is still the better all-around defender, his weakness is actually that he's susceptible to being moved by much stronger players. Well, the Lakers may be a great interior scoring team, but the Grizzlies are actually the best one in the entire NBA, averaging a league-best 58.4 points in the paint per game during the regular season. And even with their imposing big men like Steven Adams and Brandon Clark out for the season, they still have Jaren Jackson Jr. and Xavier Tillman, who both can score their way into the paint. This is where Hachimura's impact once again comes in, as his great positional size enables him to defend quite well in isolation, while also being able to protect the paint. Here, you can see Rui take on a Jaren Jackson isolation. Watch him just stay low on his feet while using his wide body to force Jackson to an uncomfortable look right at the basket. Then here, you can see Memphis trying to run an elbow pick and roll. Watch how well Rui defends in drop coverage as he uses his anticipation and body to break a potential Morant to Jackson alley-oop. But here's the thing, if the Lakers advance to the next round, they will have to face either the Kings or the Warriors, both of whom actually run a lot of off-ball actions which require a lot of switching. So in that series, Jarred Vanderbilt will probably become the more useful option in defense. But I think Hachimura's developing switch ability is also actually something worth looking at, cause while he hasn't really been known as a good defender during his first 3 seasons in Washington, the numbers actually indicate that his on-ball defense has specifically been catching up as of late, as according to NBA Advanced Stats, during the 2023 regular season, opponents actually shot just 40.8% when defended by Rui in isolation plays, and that's actually the lowest field goal percentage allowed by any defender who has played at least 50 games this season. Well, sure, those stats need to be taken lightly, as Rui is definitely not the best one-on-one defender in the league, but if you've watched him during the regular season, you know that Rui actually had some solid defensive games as a small ball center. In fact, he actually recorded 3 blocks each against Houston and OKC. Then in the play-in game against Minnesota, here you can see Rui guarding an elite scorer in Anthony Edwards, and as he attacks, watch how Rui moves his feet on the way to challenging the pull-up jumper. Then again here, you can see Rui guarding a quicker Mike Conley step for step in the perimeter before effectively forcing him to shoot an off-balance three-pointer. So if Rui is able to replicate these kinds of defensive possessions in the playoffs, who knows what kind of two-way weapon this guy could actually become for a contending Lakers team. Plus, Hachimura is only 25, and as Coach Darvin Ham said, there's still so much untapped potential to squeeze out of this guy. But the good news for the Lakers is, they can definitely make use of all that potential, and it all starts by signing Hachimura to a long-term contract this summer. So thank you guys if you've actually made it this far into the video, and let me ask you, what do you think is a realistic ceiling for Rui Hachimura? Do you think he can be an all-star for the Lakers? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below, and again, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing as well. Again, this is Real Balls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.